We back. We back and better than ever, baby. Episode 6 of Falcon and Winter Soldier, or should I say Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
You sly dog. You
Slide dog. We back here, baby. We could be heroes. You know what it is. Your boy John Torado. Happy as hell to be back as always. My little bro Matt Torado, my co-host, little mini me. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well as usual. Um, to put this into perspective, we started, doing the podcast on this particular show just 6 weeks ago. Time went by fast, really fast. So to see this entire series wrap up, now, I mean, it's surreal. We're on a bit of hiatus now in regards to Marvel.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about. But how are you? How are you doing? What's going through the mind of yours, Mr. Johnson?
Man, I'm good. So a little underwhelmed with this most recent episode, obviously the season finale. I did enjoy the series as a whole. We'll probably get into specifics with that in a little bit, but a little underwhelmed. Like they could have given us a lot more closure. Maybe that was the point, was not to give that. Just initial impressions. Overall, better series than WandaVision for sure. Specifically on the in-depthness. I have my love for WandaVision. Like, I know you're not the biggest fan, but I, for specific reasons, both that I spoke about on the podcast and wrote down in articles for OTS, I loved WandaVision. But hands down, the meaning of the series itself, meaning Cap and Winter Soldier at this point, the underlying lessons that were taught, stuff we talked about in multiple episodes at this point. I I'm happy with it. Underwhelmed with the finale though, which we're gonna get into. But how about you? Initial impressions of both the last episode and the series as a whole.
Yeah, so I typically try to refrain from going on social media. One, because of spoilers, I don't want certain plot elements to be ruined for me. And second, I don't want another person's reactions to influence how I personally feel about the finale. I want to go in with as open of a mind as possible, to where, or more of a closed mind as possible.
Right.
I want to just watch the episode, digest everything, and from there I'll formulate my own personal opinion.
Right.
And I agree with you. I was frankly disappointed with the finale. In truth, I expected there to be much more development for the Flag Smashers. Almost non-existent. Sharon Carter was randomly tossed into the mix just to try to give her some significance in the series, even though she only popped up probably 1 to 3 times throughout the entirety of the show. And I think ultimately, what disappointed me the most is how I just expected them to really wrap up everything neatly. And I honestly feel as if they could have benefited from at least 1 to 2 more episodes just to flesh out much of the subplots that were happening.
Right.
Even John Walker, for instance, there was definitely a subtle, not even a subtle, but just a major shift from where we saw him in episode 5 compared to now. I mean, we saw him in a very unhealthy state of mind. We see John Walker having that sort of once again, another physical exchange with Carly, and then suddenly he snaps out of that state to save these hostages. Again, we'll go into detail. I just feel as if the show could have benefited from this 1 to 2 more episodes, maybe 3.
Right.
So yeah, those are sort of my basic thoughts as of now.
I'm with you on that. I think they definitely had a plan. What I think kind of got them was the whole COVID pandemic for a couple of reasons. One, obviously things were kind of cut off. I think they filmed a lot of it, but a lot of post production things, excuse me, different things that they added was done way after COVID hit. Um, they had to change a lot of the plot line too. So the initial plans for the plot line was a pandemic. They were the global virus essentially was gonna devastate the world, right? That was the plan of Falcon and Winter at first, at least to be as part of the maybe a minor plot line to the whole plot, right?
Right.
And they had to change that up. They had to change that after they already filmed probably 4 or 5 episodes. So, or it was four. I think it was 4 episodes. Um, which is tough. They had to change some things up. Maybe they felt at that point you might as well trim it all down and just maybe they had 8, 9 episodes planned at first.
Never know.
And they trimmed maybe 2, 3 episodes. 2 or 3 episodes that had to do with specifically with the pandemic that they would have kind of displayed. Um, it just would have been too touchy of a timing. You know what I mean? You can't really do that when we're in the middle of it still.
Right. Right.
So I think that kind of hit them for sure. I think who knows if they got hit with COVID when they went to go finish filming. They a lot of stuff just happens, man. And I think for what what all of these series or any of these movies are going to continue to come out or continue to come out. Uh, like any other profession, they're just showing how hard it is to operate under this COVID world, and you got to make some sacrifices, whether it's for plot, whether it's for specific actors or actresses, or whatever the case is. We'll see where that goes for the rest of the series. Hopefully, knock on wood, everything's good. We have anything that kind of cuts these shows off, but overall, I think a little underwhelmed. Like I said, definitely underwhelmed because of the shortness of it. I agree with that. I think it could have been a little longer. Um, but yeah, let's get into the season finale real quick, and then we'll get back into maybe some positives and negatives that we both saw or
Sure.
agreed with, or whatever the case was when it came to the series as a whole. Um, so we start off the episode right away with a little bit of New York New York City action, right? They're back in New York. It seems like New York is just always the shit show for everything in Marvel. Poor New York City.
Yeah, I know, right?
um, I guess I had a question for you, and I had some things written down, some notes, obviously. But what are your thoughts and what are your feelings on the, that it seems like the Avengers just don't care when it comes to these solo projects, right? So my guess my main question is, where were the other Avengers in New York City when this happened? I mean, they're gonna probably cover it, when they get to Multiverse of Madness, when they get to Spider-Man 3. Well, actually, Spider-Man 2 already was after this. So where was Peter? Why would they call in Peter? I thought when they said I called someone in, I thought it was either Peter, War Machine, or or Doc, which I doubt they would have brought Doc in. That'd be too weird. That'd be a slap in the face because we all thought he was coming for WandaVision. If he came in Falcon and Winter, that people would get pissed off. But
Yeah, I know.
how do you? So the why gets explained with the rest of the series. I get that, or movies, or whatever the case is. But what are your feelings on that? Do you find that just awkward? That I mean, what are your thoughts?
It's funny you mentioned the inclusion, the potential of other Avengers being included. I remember I had a dream the night before the fifth episode released. And it was very, very similar to like the event that happened that I was dreaming of while watching was actually John Walker fighting Carly. And I think at one point Falcon and Bucky intervene, and then Peter actually emerges out of nowhere to save them.
Mhm.
And I actually thought I watched that. Like I woke up thinking, wait a minute, that like did the Spider-Man make an appearance? And then the fifth episode actually released, and then obviously the final scene was them being in New York City. I was like, there's no way they have Spider-Man for a quick cameo. I think it makes sense.
Right.
Spider-Man is obviously operating because we obviously see sort of like the pressure of him, taking on this mantle. I wouldn't be surprised if he just made a quick cameo just to, he was slapped in the face to, what those two had to deal with back in Civil War.
Well, that's why it would. I thought if anyone popped up, it'd be Spider-Man, just as like a
Yeah.
callback to, now. Quick tangent. I got to throw this tangent in there. Uh, we Marvel gave a lot of hints towards this series, if you think about it. I mean, Civil War as a whole is like the pre Falcon and Winter Soldier mashup, right? Like it's like they focused on the scene with them in the car together, having that little moment, right? Can you move your seat? No. Uh, Back to when Peter's fighting them, and Peter whoops their ass, and he's just like they get webbed up, and he's like, "I hate you." Like it seems like they gave a little bit of premonition there. You know what I mean? They definitely they've known since Civil War that this is going to happen. I'm just saying.
Yeah. It was funny. I know during a Q&A session, Kevin Feige was asked, um, would you love to see a Falcon and Bucky, road trip movie? And then he responds with, that's a good idea.
Mm,
Fast forward, 2019 Comic Con, the announcement of Falcon and Winter Soldier, an original series on Disney Plus. So
yeah,
it's crazy to think about. Even let's say for instance they never had this planned. I'm sure those two probably never anticipated them to be working together again necessarily.
right,
Maybe for like brief scenes if there were to be this huge crossover films like Marvel typically does.
right.
Um, but being able to sort of expand upon their chemistry that they had in Civil War into a six episode series definitely benefited. I mean, the performances were extremely elevated compared to the Marvel films because they had breathing room. The series was focused around them, and sort of to connect back to what we said is the best aspect of the show is really getting to the core of these two characters who were simply there to progress the plot along, and characters that I believe are high tier um, Marvel ones on a personal level. We see Sam sort of struggle with the idea of taking on the mantle of Captain America. Over the series, he begins, questioning whether he has the capability to do so. Bucky, on the other hand, is still dealing with the immense trauma of, being the Winter Soldier, all the seemingly innocent people he killed over the course of 70 years. And them together sort of allowed them to just overcome those kinds of struggles and to say, we can become better people, and hopefully we are worthy enough heroes to protect innocent people from all across the world. And like I said, I had no expectations going into the show. I had none.
Right, right.
I had said from the first episode for this particular podcast, when we started discussing Falcon and Winter Soldier, I said, listen, I was not excited. I didn't watch a single trailer. The most I watched was literally the Super Bowl TV spot that was back in 2020 when he had like the reveal of WandaVision, this show, and then Loki. That's
Right.
all I watched. I didn't care, um, and I actually do. I do care now.
I do care. I do care. Uh, so we got to get into this whole sharing thing, and I know typically we go like chronologically through the episode, like, so whoever's watching kind of understands where we're at and what we're doing. We're gonna bounce around with this one a little bit though. Uh, so theory that we had was Sharon was actually the power broker. She does pop up as someone that Sam asked for help. We thought it'd be an actual cameo, which of course it wasn't. Uh, I'm not happy with. That's one of the reasons why I was underwhelmed with this episode is the fact that she's the power broker. It's like, I mean, I get it. It's been 5 years since the blip, and maybe for her, what, 7 years, I think, since she was on the run from Civil War. So
Yes.
characters change, people develop. That's the point of I think most of these series. See that it's either they developed already, or you see that development throughout the series or shows or movies. Um, I just don't really care to have Sharon as an enemy. I mean, it's not. She's always been sort of an underwhelming character for me.
Agreed.
Going back to Civil War and obviously to Winter Soldier movie, the movie Winter Soldier, Captain Winter Soldier. Uh, Underwhelming. It's she is actually a decent actress. I'll give her that. I like 100% good actress. I'll give her that. I think they kind of wrote her wrong. Like I don't think the power broker route was the route for her, in my eyes. And maybe I'm wrong. So maybe in these next either series or this, maybe she's involved in the movie, the new Cat movie that's announced. Which we'll get into that too. Maybe there's plans. Maybe there's a bigger purpose for her, but I just don't see her being as an existential threat, right? Like, she's back with the government. She calls one of her contacts being the power broker, and says, "Hey, we lost the super soldiers, but we got access to weapons and artificial tech and all this stuff, right?" And I guess there's some purpose with that. We'll see where she goes with it. But overall, underwhelming. I mean, to see that the power broker wasn't maybe. I mean, anybody else, right? Like, it's not even maybe even just showing it during the episode. I'm not a fan of, like, her, basically her and Carly's conversation, Carly Morgenthau, uh, when they had their conversation about, I think, coming back to join her, right? That's where we found out that Sharon was power broker. I would have rather just have it be that post credit scene we saw after her out of court. Like, I didn't like finding out that she's the power broker like that. I think we both talked about maybe only finding out through post credits, no matter who it was. You know what I mean?
That's
Or someone
precisely
that
what
just
we
comes up and
discussed.
kills Bucky or kills one of the, like, I just, it was so underwhelming how we found out. It's like, hey, join me again, like some Darth Vader shit. Like, I didn't need that at all. I would have been perfectly fine with that phone conversation. Hey, I'm back with the Gov. I'm about to get these weapons. Okay, you say weapon, maybe not even actually hearing the words power broker, right? More, maybe she is the power broker. Oh, she definitely is now because she's collecting weapons. Why would she be collecting weapons? She's not the power broker. Uh, you know, a lot with underwhelming this, to make up for that, they could have left a lot of suspicion. You know what I mean? The just throwing that out there like that. It's like, I wanted the power broker to be something bigger than just what they showed us.
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
Y-
And
Yeah, I
maybe
mean
that's not Sharon's fault then, right? So I guess I'm kind of contradicting myself a little bit. It's not the actress's fault. It's not. Uh,
the writer's fault.
it's the writer's fault. It's the writer's fault,
At the end
100%.
of the day,
It's not. But the thing is, writer's fault, but not even like negatively towards Sharon. Just the power broker as a whole. I don't care if it ended up being Carly herself. The way they went about displaying the power broker to us after hyping it up for 5 episodes, the execution to tell us who that was, underwhelming.
yeah. If and I think as well, this I suspected Sharon Carter was the power broker because realistically speaking, she served no significance.
Nothing.
I
And
mean, what the most she did was what tell Sam and Bucky the whereabouts of Carly once, and I'm getting was requesting another favor from Falcon again,
right,
then appeared in the finale to kill Carly.
just doesn't, it
Like like
doesn't
like
flow with me. The what, the need to kill Carly because what, like, you're worried that they're gonna find out you're the power broker. I mean, as far as Sam and Bucky know, they barely know who the power broker even is. Do they even see the power broker as a threat at this point? I mean, if they did, that'd be the
yeah,
focus. You know,
in the power
it just,
broker, yeah,
like,
yeah,
maybe it makes sense later. I think maybe it does. Maybe they figure it out. But right
yeah.
now, there's too many open-ended questions, and there may be the purpose. Maybe there's a season 2 coming. Maybe there's, well, we know for a fact there's a movie coming. Um,
Yeah,
but where do they
I
go with it? It's so underwhelming. I feel so
in
bad for the woman that plays Sharon. I can't remember her name. Um, they kind of wrote her to shit, and it's not her fault. I
yeah,
mean,
and Sharon Carter as a character, again, I said this from the beginning. Like you were telling me, so what did you think of Sharon Carter? And she was whooping these assassins. I was I literally, if she
the care,
died,
but that's but
all
that
the respect to the actress. I'm not saying for the
right,
actress to die.
the
I'm saying
character.
if the character had died by the assassins, I literally would have said, oh,
There's like no
anyways,
significant. It's like, and the thing is, I think that goes back to the writing. I didn't mind. Actually liked her in Winter Soldier. I liked her a
yeah,
lot.
she was fine.
She was a good supporting role, and whatever the case was.
Served a
I'm okay.
purpose.
I'm okay with giving her a bigger role, but they went about it wrong. They kind of set her up for a little bit of failure in the eyes of most of Marvel fans. Um, she did a good job with what you know plate she was given. Right. This is what we need you to do, and she did it well. But
Exactly.
what they had her do was not enough for me as a fan.
Yeah, I honestly think I would have rather have had Sharon be a generic character
Right.
than become the power broker who was, like you said. built up over the course of these 6 episodes.
Right.
And the revelation was just too on the nose. It was so out there. It honestly felt condescending to us, the viewer, because I think anyone in the right mind would suspect that Sharon is the power broker to a degree.
Right.
Um, I mean, if WandaVision is any indicator, the showrunners of these series lie for marketing purposes. They lie. They hype up, and even actresses too, or actors and actresses. They lie. They say, "Oh, episode 5 is going to make you cry. There's going to be a surprise cameo that will, bring audiences to tears. They will be wondering what are the implications for this character." Flash forward to episode 5, surprise cameo is someone who's meant to be introduced to Black Widow. Flash forward to episode 5, nothing was particularly emotional. I mean, there were obviously some powerful scenes with Isaiah and Anthony, but nothing
Right.
that would make me, like sob. For me personally, I just think like manipulating the audience in that way to sort of, you know, to set their own audiences should be setting their own expectations, not listening to lies that the showrunner and or screenwriters are telling just to hype up the show. There's no reason to do that. You're on your Marvel. You're on a very successful streaming service. You don't need to hype up the
Well,
show
the
and
thing
lie,
is, it's
or not.
by
It
doing
is
that,
a marketing strategy
it
as
is.
well, but
Oh, 100% of market share. But the thing is, they like you said, they are what they are. We know it's like with the guy from the NFL press conference. The Bears are who we thought they were. It's like the Marvels are who we thought Marvels who we thought they were. Like
yeah,
we know who they are. They don't have to use deception to get us. I don't care if you give me an episode of Agatha sitting on a chair and just staring. I'm gonna watch it because you have the Marvel tag on it. The Marvel Studios. That, like, am I gonna hate
the,
it? That's one thing, but I'm going to watch it. You don't need to hype
the
it
same,
up.
literally, and
You don't need to hype it up, and with lies, because then at that point you're starting to kind of lose some people. Now, me, I'm still, I love the
yeah,
series.
yeah,
We'll
exactly.
get into the series for sure, but um, I, it seems like they're
Now,
a little
depending,
worried about these Disney Plus shows failing because it's not the movie
right?
concept, right? It's a whole different route that they're going. It's a weekly episode. They have to hype it up because but at the same time, I was talking to a friend, somebody on Twitter. Uh, the weekly episodes make me want more already. You don't need to tell me what might, or this guy might, or that person might, this cameo, this.
Like
I don't need that.
we don't need it exactly. We don't
I
need that.
purposely, when I see headlines, blank blank actor says you will be surprised about blank or whatever, right? And you got to click on a link to read obviously everything. I don't click on it. I don't want
Yeah,
to know.
and look,
I don't want to know what they
yeah.
have to say.
I mean, and
That's
look
why
at
a little
Paul.
bit why I think WandaVision for me wasn't too ruined because I didn't really dig too much into those things.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I think for you, I think you, not that you actively searched for it, but you had seen some things that were
You came across it, and that definitely,
right,
and I will say that definitely had somewhat of an effect.
right.
Or,
It can for sure.
let's go back. It had a major effect.
Right.
In regards to what Paul Bettany was saying. Like Paul Bettany was giving explicit lies. He was saying there's someone I've always wanted to work with. You don't need to deceive audiences.
At
You
all.
see Marvel, you see their
It
logo,
could really break some fans away. Like some fans, like those
like that's
old Star
dangerous.
Wars fans that swear the trilogies, like they would sacrifice their first child for the trilogies, the original trilogy. Like people like that get pissed and they'll just stop. Right? They're literally
Yeah,
just say, "I'm
they'll
never
stop
gonna watch this.
supporting.
I'm gonna stick with comics." Like
Yeah,
they're okay with that. So like me, a no, but as a whole, with most fan bases, you don't do that. It's just
you don't. There's no reason
it's
to.
poor. It's poor. Like
It's
the
immoral. Needless to say,
it's the
it's a
comic version of poor sportsmanship, right? It's just like,
sure.
I
Yeah,
mean, or comic,
it's
whatever,
yeah. I mean,
content version.
from a business standpoint, it's trust me. I think
I 100%
any
get it for sure from the business
business
side.
from a business perspective, why not? You hype up, more people are guaranteed to watch the episode on the very first day,
Right,
right? Because it's all about viewership numbers,
right,
and it's all about profit, and it's all about how Disney's streaming service is performing in every quarter.
right.
Um, more viewership, in theory, more profit. It's kind of complicated for streaming services because the numbers are a bit inaccurate. It's all about subscriber growth
Right.
because at the end of the day, the show needs to help boost subscribers.
Yep.
I think Disney Plus is what, like nearing 100 million, or am
Yeah.
I thinking of another? Yeah, I think they're nearing it, which is
They're
very
projected to
impressive.
make billions a year soon. So
Yeah, so
excuse me.
well, I guess in summary, what we're trying to say is, with the power broker, for instance, the store runner suggesting episode 5 having a surprise cameo. Um, we don't need the steps in our lives to motivate us to watch.
Right.
Like you said it perfectly. These are weekly episodes. That will get me enough to watch it.
As long as the
I
content's
see
good.
I see
Like
Marvel.
get
That will get me enough
what's gonna
excited.
make people want to continue to watch and stay on this app or Disney Plus for that matter is continuing to give us weekly good content. Leave
All we
us
want.
after every episode saying shit. It was only 50 minutes. I want more. I want more.
Exactly.
I'm gonna be frank with you. If you gave me this Falcon and Winter Soldier series as a movie and said straight, I would probably rate it higher than as a series because of what people said between each episode, the hype up between each episode, the lies from the producers and actors and actresses.
Yeah,
I think
with that in mind.
as a
Yeah, with
movie,
that in
straight
mind.
up just giving me that, I probably would have rated it a little higher than what I have it now, which we'll get
I,
into. But
I I'd probably rate it like slightly higher too.
right, right,
Most likely. I mean,
right, and I think that's what
even
I'm saying
though
though. There's just the in between is just ruining it. Leave
exactly
it
it,
alone. There's no
it's
reason to do this.
yeah.
There's no reason to do
Um,
this.
and I suppose the danger for them, if they went the direction of the movie instead, maybe an alternate universe, alternate timeline. Um, you know, the smaller character moments will not be present. They will easily be confined to the traditional 2 hour oh my goodness, the 2 hour time format. Jesus,
Right.
the 2 hour time format. Um, and we would not see Bucky and Sam nearly as developed.
No, so I'll put it this way. Maybe not
This is the
movie. I'm just
danger.
saying if they had dropped all 6 episodes right away, let us watch all six whenever.
Oh yeah,
Probably would have been a little better just to watch all six straight. Just because of the in between hype.
yeah,
Like, but
yeah.
if
It's
literally
it's
one of
really
two
an
things:
annoyance.
give us all at once, or shut the fuck up in between each episode. Like it's literally there's one of two because you're gonna. Honestly, bro, at one point it's gonna ruin it for me. Like I love Marvel and I'm gonna stick with it, but I don't need all that extra drama bullshit in between each episode. Just I'm seeing what's in front of my face. I want to see what's gonna happen in front of my face next week. You don't need to fucking hype me up to see it. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, and I think that's what really affected our sort of our views on WandaVision
Right.
extensively. I
As
mean,
you
we
should.
had people. Well, let me go back. Marvel technically wasn't telling us to theorize. The fans were going, us included, were going here, here, here. Mephisto, Nightmare, Doctor Strange appearance, Professor X, Magneto, Tobey Maguire Spider Man. Like we were just coming out with all these crazy theories and
Right,
hyping
right.
ourselves up for what appears to be disappointment. I didn't let that affect. Well, I kind of let it affect it, but at the same time, when I realized what the show was trying to be, then I said, I respect you for that, for not going down. I respect WandaVision for not being as Marvel connected, we'll say. There are implications for the future.
Right.
The
Right.
show will have an effect on future films. But that's what I appreciate. The same for Falcon. And we went on a huge tangent, but it's going to connect back to what you asked me in the beginning. What is the why? Why don't Avengers appear? And what I respect is that they still make it as self-contained as possible.
Get
Though,
that.
from a storytelling perspective, you can make the argument. Where is I'm trying to think of, like, where's Bruce Banner, for instance?
It's just a little
What well,
awkward.
Thor is probably off in NASCAR. I mean, they have like excuse. Well, Thor and Guardians left Earth at the
Right.
end game anyway. But
But I
I see
so
what you mean.
flipped around though, Spider-Man 2 where like so my understanding is Falcon Winter Soldier is before Spider-Man 2, correct?
Yes, you were correct. I think Far
So
From
why the
Home
hell
is.
would Captain America not show up to help Nick Fury? It's just, you know what I mean. It's both ways. All of it just like it's just
Yeah.
I get it. Keep it self-contained. Develop your characters, but the reality of what we've seen for the first 23 movies of the MCU, there's gonna be cameos. There's gonna be people popping up in each other's stuff, and more than just War Machine giving words of encouragement, right? Like that's just the reality of it
Uh,
is just gonna pop up. I mean, Loki's probably gonna have
I
I'm assuming he would have a
yeah.
ton of cameos. He's going through multiple timelines, people that are probably dead but are alive now in these timelines, or vice versa. Or, so
Yeah, certainly. Many
it's gonna be
possibilities for sure.
crazy. But so Falcon got that sweet suit, baby.
Wait. Hold on. Say that again. What'd you say?
Falcon got that sweet suit, baby.
Say that one more time.
Falcon
One more
got that
time.
sweet suit. Captain America got that sweet suit, baby.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah. Listen,
Mm.
I gotta tell you right now. I see what Feige's doing. I see what Feige's doing. He's going comic accurate, brother. He ain't playing games no more. He said, I got all the rights to everybody except Spider Man, but we about to sign some more contracts for that too.
Oh,
Wanda gets
so
comic
good.
accurate outfit. I love her. I love the Scarlet
Oh,
Witch.
our outfit is phenomenal. Yeah.
That's point one. Point two. That is to the T. Cap America Falcon uh outfit from the comic. I mean, literally every single aspect of that suit is the exact suit of in the comics what Sam Wilson
Yeah,
wore.
I was. Oh wow. I
Phenomenal.
yeah, I
Are
was.
those vibranium wings? He's got vibranium wings. He's gotta have them. Vibranium freaking wings, brother. With the vibranium shit, he don't need to be a super soldier. He's got it all, baby. He's got it all. But I I'm loving the route they're going with this. More comic accurate. In a way, for me, it kind of opens up possibilities for different villains that could come. Not theorizing. I'm just saying in general, different villains that could come. I
Mephisto confirmed? Oh, sorry.
Mephisto officially because we saw Bucky jump off a building.
Yeah,
um,
no, right.
no, but I love that they're heading towards more of the comic accurate. It's paying homage to again we spoke about this with Isaiah Bradley and paying homage to Steve. Um, that they're really just diving into the lore of the comics, but picking and choosing what they want to use and when they want to use it, right? And I love that. They're going to pick certain concepts or certain basically anything out of the comics that's going to fit their story, and maybe they'll adjust it as needed. But I'm loving where they're headed. They're obviously headed towards the Young Avengers. We've got like four Young Avengers essentially confirmed without confirming, including Isaiah Bradley's grandson. Um, they're they're man, they're headed to something special. I'm telling you, this is going to be. I can say confidently it's going to be better than the Infinity Saga if they do what I think and go where I think they're headed. They can really make this thing special. They're gonna and then still bring a modern twist to it. They're gonna bring in and the thing is, a lot of people are upset with people saying, oh, they're just forcing there a lot of people out there saying they're forcing certain types of character, gay characters, or they're not forcing that. They exist in the comics forever, brother. I mean,
Yeah, no,
gay,
I,
trans, multiracial, they've always been in the comics. Stan Lee
yeah,
don't play no games, baby.
yeah, exactly. I've said from the very, very beginning,
It's not forced.
is exactly, you know,
It's
what's important is that here's what my perspective is. Always focus on the character first as number one. Number two, even Marvel is meant to represent everyone, sexuality, race, gender, etc.
the
Marvel
world
is a
should be like
reflection
that.
of the real world. They should never be used as a political, like as a blank political statement. They need to have character, because at the end of the day, we have the fortune. We have plenty of like a fair share of heroes, Hispanic heroes to look up to. We have Black Americans now who could look up to a Black Captain America. And we have more characters online. I think, if I'm not mistaken, like is Wiccan or Tommy, who is gay in the comic. I'm not sure. I think either both or Wick. I believe Wiccan is getting the comics. I know there was a reference to that actually in the background of one of the WandaVision episodes. They had a rainbow painting. He did like a rainbow painting as well. Was connected to sexuality in the comics,
Right.
and none of that is forced. Like it's not. You
That's
know?
that's the world that Stan Lee and all these other Kirby and everybody they created these comics with these
Yeah.
characters in mind.
Yeah. Exactly. You know, and
There's
it's
nothing made up here at all. It's same thing as
yeah.
DC. DC had a lot of
DC.
that too,
Yeah,
and I,
yeah,
it just seems
exactly.
like now, I think studios were a little afraid to bring that to light. I guess if you want to call it, the reality of what the comics were in terms of things like that. I'm for it. Look, I don't care what race you are or sexual preference. I love
Hmm.
all people, right? That's just me. But
Exactly.
for the people who care about stuff like that and are gonna get mad, two things. One's go fuck yourself, and and two is go read a comic because you don't know any of the lore if you don't know that all of that existed forever. I mean, since the back in the early
Yeah,
1900s.
all for me,
Like,
yeah. As a fan of Marvel, all they want is good characters.
develop
De-
develop
What's that?
good characters.
Develop them,
Everything is
and
part,
I think
and the stuff
right.
that I'm talking about though, that could be part of that development. I'm for it. That's gonna like really mold a character
And
together.
that's the thing. Like their main incentive shouldn't be. My concern is that I don't want characters who are meant to represent certain groups, certain demographics to be there for diversity quota. I want them to have a meaningful
Yes,
impact.
I'm hoping Shang-Chi is
That's
gonna
all.
be a perfect example of that. That seems
Who?
dope. Shang-Chi.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Shang-Chi.
A
I mean,
mostly
looks so
all
far
Asian
looks
cat. Yeah,
it looks amazing. You know what I mean?
yeah. They have
Um,
a mostly all Asian crew and cast,
yeah,
which is
yeah. But the
very
thing is,
impressive.
and
You know,
like, so I'll put it this way: I'm for it. I agree. It's not like I don't want it just to be like, hey, we did this. Like, you should love us. I want it to
exactly.
be, hey, we
Natural.
did this. This is why. This is a dope ass character, and these people did amazing playing this character the way we wrote it.
Exactly.
That's
That's
like I
all.
want to
That's what
walk
all of
away
us
saying,
want.
damn, that's probably top five MCU movie for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's
Be-
that, but that should be
mhm.
the goal with every series, no matter what they're representing.
Right. Exactly.
I'll try to beat the next one. Make my number five, number 10, and me be pissed about it because that's how good the new number five was.
Yeah.
I mean, that's your goal
Yeah.
as a someone bringing content out.
And then
Um,
for the case of Shang-Chi, it's a major step up for representation. We rarely these days, see sort of Asian heroes or even Asian protagonists being portrayed in film within Hollywood. So this is a monumental step forward. I know
yes,
Crazy Rich Asians, but which released back in 2018 was also the sort of the seedling, the foundation for
right.
what's to come. To say, listen, at the end of the day, we should be making films that represent multiple cultures, multiple races, ethnicities, etc.
I'm
It's
very
not
interested.
there. It's not there, like I said, for diversity quota. It's there because it is meant to show characters who not only represent a specific group of people, a specific demographic, but that everyone all throughout the world can say, "Wow, that's incredible."
It's a good
The
movie.
characters are
I'm
incredible.
hoping that they explain a little where the 10 rings were when Thanos was attacking. What was the Mandarin doing? Were they affected by the blip at all? Did they have something that kind of protected them from it? I mean, the 10 rings are kind of a little like Infinity Stone-ish, man. They got some powers. So I don't know. And the 10 rings as an organization. So obviously there's the 10 rings that are literal rings, look seem to be bracelets in the MCU, but they were actual rings in the comics. Um, the Ten Rings as an organization, though, they've been around since Iron Man 1. Like the terrorist group that kidnapped Tony was a member of the Ten Rings, the guy that ran
Yeah,
that group. I mean, they've definitely spoiled the Ten Rings. And you also have to think, and in the end of was it Iron Man 3 when the fake Mandarin was all over television and stuff, right?
oh yeah, the real Mandarin was pissed. It was like,
So the fake Mandarin,
ooh,
the
like
real Mandarin sent one of his 10 ring members to speak to that guy. Remember the guy that put the gun in his face and towards the end of the movie? I think might have even been a post credit scene.
Oh, in the it was
That was
a
it.
short film actually,
That
short
was that
canon
was a
short
10
film.
rings. Yeah, that was a 10
Yep.
10 rings member.
Ten Rings also kidnapped Tony back in the original Iron
Right.
Man.
Yeah, yeah.
They were
Uh,
also there was a quick reference to
they
one in Ant
provided
Man.
the whip to the
Whiplash. Yep.
Whiplash. Right.
Yep. You're correct.
Um
Ant
I
Man
mean
also had a quick reference too. It was
it,
like a very quick shot with
I'm
like
wondering
a
if
bodyguard.
10 Shang-Chi's going to have any relation to
Oh, excuse me.
Iron
Iron Fist.
no. Uh well they do have a good relation to each other, but that's separate. Uh, the War Machine series, Iron Wars.
Oh, Armor Wars.
I mean, Iron Man's like the really the main villain for him besides Shang-Chi. So or
Um.
villain for Iron Man.
You seeing like Shang-Chi being connected to Armor Wars?
Yeah, maybe the movie, not the character, but the
Oh,
movie. At least a little bit, maybe, and maybe not. I don't know. I know Iron Man's a
you
main.
never know. I mean, I'm
That's a
not
main villain
sure.
for Iron Man
Yeah,
for
I'm
sure.
not
And
sure what Armor Wars
they
is
planted
specifically
seeds.
about.
They obviously
Um,
planted seeds in all the Iron Man
I
movies.
would
So
love Justin Hammer for Iron Man 2 to appear in Armor Wars,
I want him to be
just
in
for old time's sake.
Thunderbolts for sure. But
Justin Hammer, yeah,
oh
I
yeah,
would. Yeah, that'd be
which we
great.
gotta get into that
That'd be
because
great.
Zemo's out chilling in the raft. But
Yeah, but
so
anyway,
real quick.
sorry.
So as far
Oh,
as Captain America, I wanted to mention one thing real quick that I noticed in this. Why does everybody keep saying Cap is on the moon?
oh, I have no idea. I remember in the Avengers video game,
Okay,
the one in 2018,
that's where
there
I'm
was a
going.
yeah, there's apparently like a mission where you have to save Steve Rogers
I played it, so
from a
I
silly
mean, you
on.
literally go. No, you don't go to say Steve Rogers. You go to. You didn't even know Steve was there in the video game storyline. But
Oh Jesus,
like,
yeah, I yeah,
Tony went there for another reason to fight Modoc. Like that, related to Modoc. It had nothing to do with Steve itself. He found Steve there when going to this base on the moon.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
the fact that he keeps saying Steve's on the moon is pissing me off. I feel like an alternate version of Steve. This is a theory, and I don't give a fuck because I know he promised no theories, but I'm doing it anyway. I think another version of Steve is on the moon.
I mean, yeah, yeah. Honestly, who knows? Or maybe it could be the old Steve. He decided to live on the moon for the
Old
rest
man
of his
Steve
days.
is living on the moon because Fury let him. Whatever. Fuck it. I don't care. That's a theory, and I'm skipping to it and not talking about it anymore. All right. So,
Yeah,
uh, on to this. Bro, we gotta get back into John Walker. We talked about it last episode
John
how
Walker.
both of us have kind of been leaning towards not calling him a villain, right?
But Jesus, honestly,
He's not a villain. I'm gonna say it, and it was a question slash like a little bit of a statement last episode. 100% full statement right now. Yes, it was wrong to kill that guy, but John Walker is not a villain. He is absolutely a semi anti-hero. He's not an anti-hero. He's a semi anti-hero because he's damn near a hero. John Walker comes to get some revenge, avenge, whatever you want to call it, for Battlestar. He goes to fight Carly. They're fighting, da da da. They do their thing, but for the most part, John's kind of following like Bucky and Sam's lead. Are they not? Is he not? I'm sorry. Is he not?
yeah,
Like throughout that entire sequence, him fighting Carly and him fighting some of the other Flag Smashers and him trying to literally saving that car from falling down and killing those people, the GRC members. Um, you know, he almost had a sequence. Right before that, seemed like he was about to crack out of it again and go nuts.
yeah.
But he cracked right back in, bro.
I
He's not
was
a villain.
Yeah, I was. I want to also retract my statement. In the very beginning, when we were talking about what our overall thoughts were on or general thoughts were on the episode, I said that they rushed the aspects of sort of John Walker switching. He didn't need switching. His sanity was not going all over the charts. He definitely had anger within him, but
Of
anger makes
course,
us irrational.
of
Anger
course,
affects our
especially with the
general
super
adjustment,
serum.
overall adjustment. Exactly, with super serum in his body. Him taking super the super serum was not a good decision. Him deciding to kill a surrendering man in public was not a good decision. But he is not a villain. I'm going to say it again so you people understand on the interwebs. John Walker.
Is not a villain, and
He is
we
not a
see throughout that whole series how he teams up. And I want to get really deep into the conversation that Sam had with the GRC after Carly after Carly died. But in that scene itself, Walker is so open to listening. You see him just there understanding Sam's struggle and why, like in a way you kind of saw Walker say Sam deserves this. Like Sam deserves to be Cap.
Yeah,
And he really started to understand it. He gave up on the shield, before that actually, but I look, I like Walker as a character. He
I really do.
A lot of people don't. And we talked about that specifically last, or I think it was the last episode before.
Uh, Generally, yeah, last episode, I believe.
Right. How people would just didn't like him because they expect him to be Steve. He's not Steve, right? But if you take away the fact he was supposed to be Captain America, John Walker was the second best character in the series, in my opinion.
Would Sam be your first?
Sam would be my first.
Yeah, I agree.
They didn't
I
give
agree with
enough for
that.
Bucky for me to put him in number two. You know what I mean?
Yes, I
Bucky's number
think
three, but not enough to put number
yes,
two over Walker.
John Walker is a
And
better
which
character.
is crazy because we've had Bucky since
Yeah,
Cap one,
you know, what?
and
I'll say this right now. John Walker is a better character than Bucky Barnes.
in this series he is
I'm dropping it,
absolutely.
100%.
And I loved Bucky's development. Don't get me
Me
wrong;
too.
they could have
Me
done a
too.
little more, I think. But John Walker's development to only give us I mean, was he in every episode? Walker, a little bit in every episode.
Yeah, he was in every episode
So, the,
technically. Yep.
so let's say a total runtime on screen of what, 2 hours out of the six?
Not even actually. He's probably
Not
that's
even,
not
maybe
even
less than that.
honestly.
To do what they did with his development, to show what they wanted to show, to make me actually like this character, which is I feel like was tough because even in my eyes when I first started, I'm like, hey, this is the great value brand of fucking John Walker, Steve Rogers. Who the fuck is
The
this
guy
guy?
from Up. You
Yeah,
see that meme on the
yeah, yeah,
internet?
yeah, 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 the guy
Yeah.
from Up. But I am a huge, huge fan of John Walker, and I don't, we see in the post credit scene that he's officially hired. They called him U.S. agent, which we all knew this was going to happen. Val is whatever, who is she? She's Madam Hydra or whatever the hell she is. We'll find out. Um, I think he's going to be Thunderbolts. I think she's Thunderbolts related, 100%. And I think he may be one of the leaders, if not the leader of the Thunderbolts, along with Zemo. Um, when that time comes, and if and when they bring that movie out, which I hope James Gunn does that. By the way,
Really? James Gunn would be your top choice for directing a Thunderbolts film?
if Suicide Squad is good, yeah, I think I'd lean that route because they're kind of like the Suicide Squad of Marvel. That's like the purpose.
Now, here is what my thought process is. I am the opposite. I think U.S. agent, who is now his official title,
Right.
will instead be a part of the Dark Avengers.
Ooh.
Here's why. There are rumors suggesting, or even rumors that have been going on for months now, prior to the release of this show,
Okay.
that the Dark Avengers will be making an appearance in the MCU in some capacity.
Okay.
Second, Norman Osborn, who is the leader of the Dark Avengers in the comics, is also rumored to be introduced in the upcoming Spider-Man 3.
Mm.
Now, with that in mind, I think there will be two evil organizations: Dark Avengers, Thunderbolts. The Dark Avengers will directly be tied to the main Avengers. So, Sam, Bucky, trying to think of like other like oh my god, like She-Hulk, etc.
Right.
Thunderbolts will be tied to Young Avengers because you remember General Ross is currently at the Raft. He has Zemo under his control. I think they might be taking they're purposely having two separate organizations so that they can go against two separate Avengers teams: the Young Avengers and the mainline Avengers that we've grown familiar with over the course of these years.
Right. And we'll,
That's
we'll get maybe
that I
a
think is the
massive team
direction we're
up
going.
when we get a massive villain again, right? Like a Galactus or something like that.
Exactly. Like a I think King the Conqueror is going. I know King the Conqueror is making an appearance in Ant-Man 3. I'm a bit skeptical. He's a very powerful villain. I don't know why they're reducing
I
him
could
to
see
such a
him more
small
so
villain.
in Loki as a cameo,
He
at
he's
least.
definitely making a cameo.
Yeah.
In fact, they even made there's a
Well, Kane
statue
the
of him.
Conqueror was a science, so he may just be someone that works for the time variant as a
Oh no,
cameo.
he's a leader. He rules over the multiverse or the
Not,
timelines. King.
but his origin is he's a normal person at first, though. You know that, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
I was
yeah.
just saying.
Yeah.
I think we'll see the normal person version in Loki, and then
Oh, I
that'll
see.
be the hint. That'll be like, oh, I can't remember his normal name, right? When he wasn't
Yeah,
Kang, but he's one of the brightest scientists in the world, or in this case, the
yeah. Yeah.
time variants. But
So
but
I
I
think
think he may
yeah,
be in there. You know what I mean?
I
So
think that they'll yeah exactly both teams will come together, face off against King, and then from there we'll have a Doctor Doom or a Galactus. I think Galactus will be many years on the line. I mean, he's still at the
oh
bring in
yeah,
the X Men.
they got too much to go
Yeah, they
still
have.
out there.
Because
But just a quick breakdown of I pulled it up. As far as the Dark Avengers, they as far as previous versions or whatever previous characters that were associated with Dark Avengers, leader wise, U.S. Agent. Um, I think he's currently the leader in the comics, is from my understanding.
oh, nice.
Um, Norman Osborn is a former leader. Victoria Hand from the Hand, Iron Fist, was a leader as well.
Mm.
Luke Cage was a leader as well. As far as characters, Ares, which Ares is actually a dope character too. Captain Marvel, Hawkeye, Hawkeye's daughter, Hulk, Miss Marvel. I say Hawkeye's daughter. Hawkeye's daughter was never actually Hawkeye. The what's her
Kate
name? I
Bishop.
can't. Kate Bishop. Sorry.
Wait, who are you? The heroes you're listing out right now, they work for Dark Avengers?
They were all members of the Dark Avengers at some point in the comics.
Probably manipulated into joining the. Yep,
Right.
exactly. Yeah, right.
So
Gotcha.
Hulk, Miss Marvel, Sentry, Decapitator, Scorpion, Wolverine, the Gorgon, and Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
So
Oh, bro. Scarlet Witch is going to be Dark Avengers. She's
absolutely.
going
I
to.
think after Multiverse
Yep.
of Madness, they're going to recruit her as well. So I think you're right. I'm leaning towards. It's definitely an organization that this woman's recruiting for. It's got to be a Dark Avengers related theme. We'll
And then
see. We'll
Thunderbolts
see.
for Ross,
Right,
guaranteed.
right.
It's
And
going
you
to
got
be
to
two
think
separate
at this
teams.
point, what is what makes me think is more what you said. And I'm gonna 100% agree with this. As Dark Avengers, um, she said she specifically told Walker, there's a void left right now. Like there's nobody to truly defend as it. Like there's no Avengers right now. There really isn't. Who's left? Peter's
Mm-hmm.
literally. Well, at this point, they didn't know he was on a run, but now he's on a run, right? Doctor Strange is dealing with the literal multiverse breaking down. Scarlet Witch is Scarlet Witch now. Vision is MIA. Obviously, at this point, even the new Vision that was created. Uh, Hawkeye is doing his. Who knows? We'll see what happens in the series later this fall. Um, Loki could be a Dark Avenger, so he was never Avenger anyway. But She Hulk maybe will be an Avenger, I guess. But Hulk is one arm now. I mean, like, there's no Avengers. There's a couple of Avengers that could do some things, and War Machines out there, but there's no Avengers right now, man. There is a void. Thunderbolts are gonna feel like that they're gonna fill the void, and Dark Avengers are gonna feel like that they're filling the void, and that it's gonna be a massive fucking shit show. And I
Yep.
love it. I love it. It's a different route. It's not the same route. They're gonna try to do a whole different, whole different concept, and I love it. Um, so I'm excited for that for sure. So I did want to get into a couple more things real quick, and then we got to get into just general positive negatives of the series. But um, as far as I want to give a quick breakdown of Sam's, I guess, conversation with the GRC and him explaining why the way how they were going about things and why they were doing it just didn't make sense. And I loved how he really broke down how people like him, minorities that struggle, and people like the GRC are so different. And then the senator says, you don't know our struggle. You didn't know our struggle for the 5 years that people were gone. You don't know the struggle of the people that came back after these 5 years, that their houses are gone, and stuff that they owned is not theirs anymore. And uh, And Sam said, "You're wrong. I do understand it." And you know what that means is we finally have a common struggle. The government now understands what people like us have gone, us meaning minorities, have gone through for years and years and years. And you know what? It's time for y'all to do a little different and do a little better with it, right? That's all he's trying to say. The man literally said, I'm Captain America to save lives here." And I feel people staring at me like, "That's Cap." That's sad because that's the reality, bro. I'm sorry. There are situations like if this is IRL, all this Marvel shit, absolutely some people would stare at Sam and say, "That's not my Cap." There will be people that say that, and that's what he's trying to say in obviously in the series. Um, I'm curious to see, and it seems like they made some changes based on the television background we heard when Zemo was in the raft. The GRC started to make changes to what they were doing and how they were using their powers. What Sam said, use your power for better, use your power for good, be a difference, make a difference. I love that whole scene. Sam really broke it down. Obviously, Isaiah Bradley got to see it for himself, and see that, overall perception, people are okay with the Black Captain America. People are okay
Yeah,
With Sam being that
certainly.
guy, and him leading and the charge for the country and the world, for the most
Yeah,
part.
and Sam is Sam is such a fantastic character. Oh my goodness.
He what Talk about extremely developed from what we saw on day one. He is literally a carbon copy of Steve Rogers.
Yep.
They are in every way imaginable
The
the
ideal that people
same
should strive for.
and the ideal. But I'll give you one more. What did we speak about last episode? What is Steve's biggest flaw?
Well, his ignorance, certainly. I mean,
His
he was
and
stuck in
not
ice for
on purpose
not on
ignorance,
purposeful
his
ignorance,
general
but just
ignorance. You know what
failed to
Sam
preserve
doesn't
ignorance.
have? That ignorance. Sam's a better Cap. Sam's a better Cap for the real world and the world that it is today. Today in Marvel, right?
I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't go that far. I think
He's
they're on the same playing field. I would say.
I'm gonna give Sam the advantage because he understands the struggles of everyone, not just a certain group, right? He has more. I mean, look, I love Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers is the best Cap, hands down. Chris Evans played him amazing. I really hope we get a 6 episode miniseries of his travels back in time with the Stones and the Hammer. I think we are going to get that, by the way, animated or something. We're definitely going to get that. I, I'll give him a tie.
Yeah, they're on the
I'll
same
give him a
playing
tie.
field.
They're on the same,
I
and
think at the end of the
maybe
day,
we'll see
yeah,
more out of Sam in the movie, and we'll start. We'll love him more. But
certainly,
they
certainly.
absolutely
But
wrote
I
him right.
understand completely what you're saying though.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
they wrote
hundred
him in
percent,
such a beautiful and
absolutely.
a definitely powerful way. I had to say this though, and this is not to criticize the writing of the show or sort of the themes they're exploring. It was a bit too preachy. I suspect it was a bit too preachy. I kind of wish they made it a bit more subtle, if possible. I wish they kind of like approached the scene a bit differently. But Anthony Mackie's acting was took that scene to here
Oh,
and really
yeah.
honed in
Talk
what
about
the
getting
show
getting
was
his
about.
ass beat. His Papa was it Papa Doc from 8 Mile, and
Oh, the rap battle,
Eminem whooped his ass, and he went from that to this. So,
crazy.
um,
And then speaking of powerful scenes, we cannot forget to mention this is what Sam did for Isaiah in the museum,
right.
a permanent statue, so that anyone who visits that museum, excuse me, and that all Americans who visit that museum will say, "Wow, that's one of many Captain Americas who existed in our country, who fought for this country."
So, Isaiah probably sacrificed more than anybody, to be honest.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to be
the
real.
unethical experiments he had
Steve
to
got his
endure.
happy ending. You got to think. I mean, he went back in time and was able to live with Sharon. I'm sorry to Sharon. Peggy.
Oh,
So
mm.
still awkward. So regardless,
I know, right?
Bradley never got that closure until now, until Sam did that, and I think that spoke to how much like who Sam really is as that Cap America man. God, this was so well written. So honestly, I give man, it's like 60-40 Mackie with writing. Like 60% was Mackie just totally outperforming, right?
Yeah,
Amazing.
and he
What
had
we
the
thought what
writing
we
with
thought he
just
could, and then the
yeah,
writing was just boosted that, right? The
yeah,
40% was the
exactly.
writing that just boosted that. Um, you know, I'm I would let's all right, let's get into our real quick, let's get into our one negative, one positive. I'm gonna do both real quick for myself. I'm gonna do one of each. Uh my one negative is I wanted more, and this is a little bit selfish, but I think everybody's gonna say this. But for
Yeah.
this specifically, look, I'll tell you right now, I want 52 episodes where they can give us 52. But as far as in the shows that were given, we didn't get enough of certain elements, certain concepts, right? Certain plot lines. The smashers weren't developed as much as I would have wanted
Mm,
them to, or as a villain as a whole. It didn't need to be them. I didn't like the power broker reveal. So as far as negatives, then maybe there's more than one, but underwhelming in the sense of certain concepts. But nothing's gonna be perfect, bro. I mean, so few of these things you're gonna not be able to find a negative, right? Um, this is the reality of every TV show. Everybody has issues with Breaking Bad. Everybody has issues with Sons of Anarchy. No matter how it goes, there's gonna be somebody has an issue. As far as positive, um, the ability for this writing team slash the actors and actresses, mostly in this case the actors, the ability to make me care about two characters I never thought I'd care about. And that's no offense to either of them. They were never meant in the past to be main roles. That it was Cap, it was Iron Man, it was Black Widow, it was Hulk, Thor. The main crew, the main Avengers. I never thought I would be so invested into the stories of Captain America, the new, and Bucky Barnes. And bravo to them to literally
can't wait to see them again.
making me buy in more than I ever thought I could, and making me more excited than ever for this new movie that's going to be coming out. So, um, man, hell of a positive. And as far as the series, I'm gonna you could do all three next, Matt. I'm gonna rate it, and at this point, I think I gave myself gave it a couple extra points after having this conversation with you. I'm gonna put it at a 4.1. Put it at 4.1, which is not. I mean, we got to think. Yeah, there are very few that could even get a five, and I think Infinity War would be the closest for me to get a five. Um, I'm gonna give it a 4.1, and that is probably one of the top 10 scores I would give if you count all the movies. So, um, I I genuinely loved it. I love what they did. I love the characters they developed, and I'm very very excited for the future and what they're going to be doing with this series. With Loki, with Miss Marvel, with Hawkeye, with What If. I'm excited for that too. Um, I'm definitely give it that 4.1. I'm with that. So as far as positive, negative, out of 5 stars, brother, what would you give?
Okay, sure. So let's start with the negative. I think the Flag Smashers. Carly as a villain was terribly hypocritical and uninteresting over the course of the series. I felt little to no sympathy for her in any case. And while Stan was attempting to be a good man and to at least give her the assistance she required because she was more or less a misguided teenager, her, ter- I mean, dear goodness, I mean, where do I begin with her character? I mean, for starters, she destroys a government building with innocent civilians. She murders Lamar Hoskins. And at the end of the day, what she's actively trying to do, which is to prevent this vote that is meant intended to separate people as opposed to unite them, does nothing. It actually enforces the opposite if you think about it. It literally says to the world, well, wait a minute, whoa, 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 whoa. We have this terrorist group, and we're also signing a bill for more borders. So shouldn't we have borders to secure each country? That literally has the opposite of that literally has the opposite effect. And I remember I was asking Angel, I was saying, so what's the Flag Master's goal? Because I thought I was like misinterpreting it, and I need to wrap my head around it because I thought maybe they were just going in direction I didn't know. And he said, yeah, they just want the world to be united because They were frustrated of being forgotten during the snap, and those who returned, the ones who remained after the snap was reversed were completely forgotten about, etc. And honestly, I just feel there's zero justification for her actions, and her death. I felt as if they're trying to manipulate the audience with that emotional music in the background, as like as Sam Holzer. But again, I felt nothing for her character. And Erin Kellyman, I love the actress sincerely. She's a very, very kind human being. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the work, but she did solo Star Wars story. She had a quick, like a very small role. I think like a 5 minute role. She played Enver's Nest there. I love the character there. But here, I just wish they gave her better material to work with because she's a good actress with a lot of potential, and I want to see her in more projects in the future. But she was given just a thankless role, and the Flax Masters I just found to be very underwhelming, and they honestly came off as just a kind of antagonist the show needed just to just for some cool action sequences and just that add a bit of a hardship for the characters to go through. So that's my rant about the character, and maybe we can go more in depth about Carly, but I'm kind of wrapping up here anyway. So a positive is pretty much what you said. I mean, John Walker, fantastic. It's a very fantastic written character. The relationship between Sam and Bucky evolving over the course of the show was phenomenal as well. And the performances really from those three, Wyatt Russell, Anthony Mackie, and Sebastian Stan, respectively, really elevated the material, especially in the later episodes where we definitely saw a bit of a sharp decline. The first two were fantastic. Three went down. Well, we were concerned about three going down, and then four went here.
Right.
Five went a bit down as they didn't really progress the story. I thought that episode would have really brought the Flags Masters, given the Flags Masters more to do in that particular episode. They really didn't, except at the very end. And then episode 6 was really below average. So that's
Right.
where my concerns lie. If I were to rate the series, um, I keep going back and forth, and so I'm debating between a 3.0 and a 3.5. I'm gonna stick with a 3.0 for now. I
Okay.
think if I rewatch the series, I might put it up to a 3.5. But I think if we're doing this out of stars, it's definitely 3 stars out of 5. The show really, like the last two episodes, really affected my overall view, and I was fairly disappointed, sort of, with the direction they took the Flag Smashers and Sharon Carter. That honestly ruined what could have been a whole run for the series. But John Walker was consistent all across the board, sort of his relationship with Lamar, and of course, sort of how he managed to delve deep into his mental state as he deals with the pressures of being Captain America. So I think I'll grow more of a deeper appreciation for Falcon over time because it's a show that is more character driven than most Marvel projects, and I really, really appreciate that.
Right.
Um, yeah, so that's where I like. I mean, WandaVision is a different story. Well, I'm sorry, but
I need. I think
that's
I need to
that's where I
rewatch
leave it.
WandaVision to give a rating on that. We'll get to that for sure. But
Yeah,
hey, we're running out a little bit of time here, folks. But of course, I just want to thank everybody for always sticking through with us here, letting us talk about all this Marvel stuff and any of this Star Wars stuff that's gonna be coming soon too, with the new Bad Batch coming out and all that. So we have a little break of Marvel. So we got to talk some DC. There's some announcements of DC stuff. Some DC projects will be coming out soon on
nice.
HBO Max and the movies.
Sorry, I just
No,
I
but we're gonna
oh
get
my
into
god,
that for
oh
sure. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get some Star Wars stuff. There's gonna be a gap. We got about a month, a little over a month actually, till we get Loki.
oh, why'd you
So
remind me of
we
that?
have to wait. I
God
mean,
dang it, Bad
we had the
Batch.
making of Falcon next week, but it's not really something we're gonna really focus on. So next week we'll do something different. Matt and I will kind of butt heads and figure out what we want to do. So, but yeah, hey, as always, we love you guys. Matt, if you want to tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, of course. As always, you can find me over on Instagram, Matt_T29. That's MATT_TEE29, all lowercase letters. As always, thank you for sticking with us over the course of these past 2 months. Definitely helping us really bring We Can Be Heroes to the next level because at the end of the day, we want to bring you guys content that you can continue to enjoy for weeks to come. And I also appreciate each and every single one of you for listening to my very long rants. They go on. But at the end of the day,
As always, as always.
it's all love. I have no disrespect for the creators of Marvel. I'm very critical, but listen, I will always, no matter what, watch Marvel because that's my childhood. I
Right.
love these characters, and I
Yep.
want to see them, continue to bring in more characters.
We're
But
just all he's doing is holding up to higher standards, baby. That's all he's
yeah,
doing.
that's
But of
all
course,
answer.
yeah, of course you can find me over at John underscore OTS and all social media platforms. And of course, please head over to which you'll hopefully be watching this youtube.com/OTS guys. Drop subscribe. Go to the Facebook page, like the Facebook page, go into the Facebook group. Probably want to leave one day later because everybody's crazy in there. But of course, that's where you can find us, baby, on the sidelines. Head over to www.otsguys.com. We have plenty of articles coming out, different podcasts coming out. We have all of our content creators on there. So you can meet it, kind of like a meet us section, right? It kind of describes who we are. Which Matt, we're gonna get you on there, but and of course tonight it's tonight this is April 23rd. It's a little late now at this point because this episode won't be uploaded probably till tomorrow. Tonight there's an episode of new episode of Fans. They're going to be a live episode, Cardi B versus Meg Thee Stallion, and I'm pretty excited about it. I don't really know each artist myself, aside from the stuff that's on the radio. So these contestants have a bit of a battle, I think, to figure out who's the best. So I'm excited for it. Please look, we love and appreciate you guys always hopping in,
Always.
dropping a view. We can be heroes. We're
Thank you.
here to stay. I love it. This is stuff I love to do, and you guys are just helping me do it. So appreciate you. We love you. Peace and love. Stay safe. Catch y'all next week.
All
Peace.
love. Stay safe. Peace.